Today we're putting an Ultimax belt on a Polaris RZR 800. Ultimax belts are designed to be application specific, so make sure you check ultimaxbelts.com to get the right one for your side-by-side. The machine we're working on is a 2010 RZR 800S, but the procedure is the same for every RZR 800 and 800S. To get to the belt, you'll need a 5/8" wrench, a flat screwdriver or 6mm nut driver, 3/8" and 5/8" sockets, and a ratchet with an extension. To remove the belt, you'll need either the tool that came in the vehicle toolkit or a pry bar. Use caution around the engine and exhaust, which could be hot. Let the machine cool down before working on it. Please always follow all of the manufacturer's safety recommendations, installation procedures, and specifications. To begin, put the RZR in park. Pull both seats out. Twist the CVT cover panel fastening latches and remove the cover panel. The seat belt mounting bar also needs to come out. Use a 5/8" wrench to hold the nuts and a 5/8" socket to loosen the bolts. Unscrew the vent hose clamp and pull the hose free. The clutch cover on the RZR is held on by bolts with 3/8" heads. Note that some vehicles use 10mm bolts. Now remove the cover, turn it vertically, and wiggle it past the primary clutch. Once you get the cover off, you can see the CVT system. CVT stands for Continuously Variable Transmission. The driver or primary clutch is in front. It's bolted directly to the engine's crankshaft. There are flyweights and a spring to squeeze the belt and create upshift force. The primary is called RPM sensing because it changes shift force based solely on engine RPM. The belt transmits the power from the primary to the driven or secondary clutch. The secondary is called torque sensing because it creates backshift force based on the load from the tires. The clutches will shift until the force from the primary equals the shift force from the secondary. Since the only link between your engine and the gear case is the belt, it's important to have the right belt to get optimum performance. To remove the belt, you need to separate the two halves of the secondary clutch. Polaris makes a tool for this. If you don't have the Polaris tool, a pry bar works fine. Just make sure you don't damage the aluminum clutch. Never pry from between the clutch faces. Once the belt is off, take the opportunity to inspect a few things. First, check the old belt. If one side is noticeably more worn than the other, you could have an alignment issue with your clutches, which will tear up any belt you put on. You also want to look for cracks or signs of excessive heat. Next, inspect the clutches. Clean out any pieces of the old belt or any debris. If there is anything on the clutch faces, get those cleaned too. If there is any rubber on the clutch face from the old belt, you can use a Brillo or SOS pad. It's okay to scuff the clutch face, but you don't want deep scratches. Also, if there is a pronounced groove in the primary, it's time to replace it. You can use brake cleaner or a solvent, but be careful to let everything dry so it doesn't get on the belt. Solvents break down the rubber compound. Never use a belt dressing or solvent on a belt. Once everything is clean, you're ready to put the new belt on. Some belts have directional arrows. Belts aren't directional, so the way you put it on doesn't matter. The arrows are there so that if you ever take the belt off, you can put it back on in the same direction. This helps to ensure maximum belt life. Ultimax recommends that belts be installed so you can read the brand. Get into this habit to make sure that your belt is always running in the same direction. Spin the secondary clutch until the belt is good and snug. You should see the top of the cog above the edge of the secondary when it's tight. Make sure that the seal around the clutch cover is intact and that the groove is free of debris. Now put the cover back on. Be sure to reconnect the vent hose. Once everything is back together, break in your Ultimax belt by running at half throttle or less for the first 30 miles or so. This will allow the belt to seat properly and provide optimum performance and belt life. For more tips on belt installation, check out ultimaxbelts.com.